What is up, guys? Technicals Tinkers here, checking in on the 3D print operation for today. Gonna keep it short, gonna keep it sweet today. It's Sunday. Go out and enjoy your Sunday. But what am I working on? So if you saw yesterday, I have this D20 cube that I'm printing like along this seam here. So I'm trying to print the bigger halves of it. I've got one going up here. It's been going for maybe about 4 hours now. It's a long print. It's like a day long. I did the second half over here on Cobra 2, complete failure. It didn't adhere to the plate, pulled off. There's a whole huge mess, so I got it going down here on Cobra 4, and it seems to be okay. Additionally, I've been talking about how the Soval hasn't been giving me any problems. Well, it gave me some problems. I haven't really investigated it yet, but I went out, I had to run an errand, and when I came back, the print that I had on it, it had been dragging all across the plate. It was a bunch of these little napkin rings for my upcoming Thanksgiving dinner. Thanksgiving's already ruining my life. So it was dragging it across the plate. The front cover got pulled off and it had a big blob of mass all around the nozzle. So luckily I caught it and was able to rip that off before it solidified. So hopefully it's fine, but the napkin rings, I'm just gonna throw them down here on the A1. That's sort of a personal thing. It's not really in line with what I'm talking about on the channel, which is, you know, things to print for money. So that's going to be happening there, and our character models. Doing 3 of them on this plate here. Now I did the layer height really high because the model, I guess the nature of it, it was going to take over 2 days for one of these at a 0.18 layer height. So I just put it up to 0.2 and print 3 of them, and it takes like 2 days, like, you know, an extra like 4 to 5 hours. So might as well do that. I'm hoping it comes out. I haven't printed this model yet. Hopefully no issues, but you know, you save a lot of filament if you get multiples on the plate. And I was talking about the purge chute on the back of the P1P. Now I downloaded this, and I was gonna, it takes magnets. You're supposed to put magnets in it, but I'm probably gonna retool it to fit magnets that I actually have instead of buying in magnets. I've got these rectangular ones, so I'll probably adjust the model to fit those. But I didn't really want to use like flex, especially 2.5 inch flex. I wanted something bigger because taking it straight down, I need to take it off to the side to go down here into this garbage can. So I was thinking PVC because it's smooth, but that would require me to like affix it and like get 45s, and PVC, like when you start getting those connectors, I spent like 20 bucks on this. Instead, I'm gonna try this out. This is downspout tubing. It's a 4 inch. And so it kind of, once you know, orient it the right way, it kind of stays how it goes. So I'll probably just use some plumber's tape to hold it in place, and I'll maybe get some kind of like adapter going when I'm adjusting that model to fit those magnets. I'll measure this so it like fits in correctly, so because I want it to stay in. But if you look, that's plenty of room for the flush to fall down. So long as the fall is steep, I don't think I'll have many issues, but I have to wait for the P1P to finish, so it's like 2 more days until I can really start tooling around with it because I was impatient and wanted to print that character model. So for the sake of a short vlog today, I'll kick it over to my future self tomorrow morning to see how it all worked out. And just like that, another twist is the next morning. Let's check in and see what happened. That looks good. Hey, that looks real good. Except for that part. Not so good looking there. So I'm kind of at a loss here. I was kind of worried this might happen with organic supports this high up. I kind of get the heebie-jeebies, and yeah, it's obviously not coming through. Now this part's okay because that's an interior piece, but this appears to be, I just don't know. Like, it might be okay. We'll find out. Overall, though, the exterior finish on this D20 cube, the new halvesy concept that I've been doing, it looks fantastic. I'm still not sure what that rattle is. Got to tighten something. I mean, it looks okay so far, but, you know, when supports get this high, the back and forth, even though I've slowed everything down, they still kind of give. So maybe I need to start looking into, like, infill for supports, like maybe just, like, you know, a couple lines of infill to keep it solid. I don't know if the head contacted and pulled one of the supports or something, but, you know, obviously that's undesirable. But the rest of these look okay. These, where the interior portions are holding on, that's gonna kind of weird me out. Now, again, in this model, I can go through and delete all that inside stuff, which I'll probably do. but I just kind of shotgunned this one out because I wanted to kind of see how it went. But overall, the outside is looking great, way better than my previous attempts. But down here on Cobra number 4, I came in, and as you can see, the tool head was right there before I stopped it. So obviously it stopped extruding completely because it ran out of filament. Oh, what, did the sensor fail? No. This little, I left it just the way it was. The little hook that holds it onto the end of the spool just got caught here. And then my little bracket that orients the filament guy, or the filament runout sensor down, is only on one screw, and this little back plate that kind of holds it in didn't work, so it just pulled it in, and that was the only thing, that little hook there, the only thing that kept it from going. So that one is busted, but you know, what do I blame that on? Do I blame that on, well, probably me for not now this bracket I downloaded, but I did modify it. I changed the orientation. I gave it a like a 12-degree down bevel to catch this a little better, so the turn isn't as extreme. But it needs to be thicker because, I mean, this is the screw they include. It's contacting there, so I didn't tighten it all the way. And if you don't move your, because usually the filament runout sensor is right here. If you don't move this away, it won't stop until the end of the filament's like already in the tube, and the only way to get it out and change it out is to pull this and then pull it out. And I really hate doing that. I'd rather just pull it out from here, put the new filament in. So that's a bummer. It happens. You know, it's going to take like 2 days to do it. But the fortunate part, because you want to look for a silver lining in everything, is that I can go ahead and take this portion of the model, this half, and delete out all this interior stuff. So maybe I avoid the issue that I was facing with that Mr. Clicky up there. So that is destined to go in the ocean, and we will try again. Up here on the P1P, we got our character model girls going. Moving along swimmingly, looking pretty good. No issues to report. The layer height is heavy. You can definitely see that. I didn't do any adaptive layer height or smoothing because the print was gonna take so long. I'm just interested in getting these out, seeing if they'll be good. So that's working there. And this is more like a personal print. These are napkin holders. Since I'm hosting Thanksgiving this year, I was like, all right, let's just print some napkin holders because, you know, we use cloth napkins for that kind of thing. So I figured some napkin holders might be nice. And I'm about to get a chute adapter going on the Soval here, because if you saw my video yesterday, I need a chute for the purge, the flush, to take it to a trash can over there so it doesn't get down into that printer. And I had bought this downspout guard, which, you know, is bendable and stays in shape, for pretty cheap. And I was like, oh, you know what? Someone sent in a comment a printable version, so I'm going to try that first just to at least get it in the direction I want to go. If it doesn't work out, maybe I could try that, but I think the printed version is going to work a little better, so I'm going to do that one up here on the Soval now. And so far as the rest of the stuff we got going on today, the Colt Python, the big one. So I've been going back and forth on it. I did get some magnets. I got some big juicy magnets. These are big. There's like 1.25 inches. N52 neodymium. I don't say neodymium. I've been watching too many British people, but those are brass. Why would I think that would work? To try out, but I was kind of like, you know, again, thinking about like, I don't like adhesives. I don't like anything but mechanical fastening. So what I got were some heat set inserts. Now I've used these for my crypto mining stuff before, M3. These are M4, a little bit bigger, a little bit beefier, because these are M4 times 40 hex screws. And so I've got a little soldering iron with the adapter that, you know, does the heat sets. And so my thinking is to take the Colt Python and start from square one, because the model that I have, it's an attribution model. It's all separated. So like the drum, the bullets inside the drum are separate from the model. Additionally, I had to go through and slice off the outer grip sections because I was like, well, I want to print the grips separately and then glue them on. But I'm thinking at this point, for this kind of art model, it'd probably be easier to print it in one go, flash it off, and then mask it and then paint it like that. And again, I don't like doing post-production. I'd really like, again, for anyone new joining the channel, I'm like, oh, is this guy just print art prints? I'd really prefer functional prints, but I'm trying a little bit of everything, and I've sold, one of the giant Glocks, and I think the Colt Python might do well. And if I could get like $300-400 for it, then, that helps finance more printers, more stuff, more YouTube promotions, all kinds of things. And, media is a component of this whole project. So it makes sense to put in the time, because overall it's not that much time. I'm not putting that much attention to detail in these art prints, and if I can still get a decent return on it, then it's worth it. So I'm gonna go back to basics. I'm gonna go back to the model. I'm gonna start, sort of with the model that I have, that I was able to print, a lot of the things that I wanna change, knowing that I have to print it in 2 parts. That's kind of a huge one, that I have to fit it in a box that's 105 inches cubic in total. And so now I can maybe split it in different areas along different planes. But I think what I'm gonna do is use mechanical fastening, a combination of mechanical fastening and a male-female sort of thing. So I don't have, get something to illustrate it. All right, illustrative. So the barrel section here, I'm probably, right now I have it split right here, right where the barrel contacts, but my thinking is, and I have to play with the model, is to split it here where the drum kind of comes in. That way I can print it nice flat face. I can print it with the drum in place. Now, unfortunately, I won't be able to have, copper tips and brass primers on the back, or shells on the back, but whatever. And that way, that gives me a more true midway point to print it. I do it like that. I cut the model, and then when I print it, the center section or the barrel section will have a protrusion. This part will have a hole, and it will slide in. That's the bottom half. Now, it's not meant to really be glued in, because on the top, I will have cut at a 45-degree angle a hole that going through section 1 and this heat set insert in section 2, and then Mr. Customer just kind of screws it in. That way, the bottom protrusion, the male part, will keep it affixed in place, keep it centered, and then the top section will pull everything in, tighten the gap, keep it all sturdy and solid. I can print this the bottom layers thick to where there's like a big firm base for which me to set on my heat set. My only sort of concern there is, like, overall on that size of model, this little heat set holding that entirety of model together. Now it probably should, but someone mentioned like use 2 of them, and I'm like, that's a great idea, but how do you sink 2 of them in there perfectly straight? Because that's the key. Now I was like, okay, well, obviously I'll just take the heat sets and put 2 of them on the screw, and then somehow heat this up. Like, the soldering iron doesn't have a clamp. I can't heat this up to send it down. And furthermore, I'm gonna have to send it perfectly straight in line with this part and this part. I'm like, this is getting a little heavy duty here, because when you're heat setting things in, I got your big dumb clunky hand. If I move it off 1, 2, 3 degrees, that can make a big difference, because once it dries and then Mr. Customer goes to screw it in, if it's 1 degree off pitch from the plane of where the screw's coming in, then that added force is pulling against hardened plastic, and then crack, snap. So I want to make sure that I try to get this as close as I possibly can. Maybe it makes sense to get like a M10 M10 screws or bolts and heat set inserts. Not sure yet, but I'm probably going to try this. I'm going to print the middle section, a revised middle section, and a revised section of the barrel with this method, and then try that before I go and print the whole rest of the model, and see if it works. And if it does, then we're good to go. So that is the 3D print update for today. Appreciate everyone chiming in and giving me tips and suggestions. It's been immensely valuable. Let me know what you're working on in the comments below. Be sure to like the video, because it's a nice thing to do, and subscribe for more content like this. I'm the Technicals. See you next time.